Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So last episode we had the entire off season, and today's episode, which is the second last episode of the series, we're going to be simulating the entire season simulation except for the playoffs and see if this team can make it back to the postseason, which more than likely we should be because we're a pretty good team. We pretty much have the exact same roster as last year, and we didn't really make much off-season additions to this team in terms of free agent signings, just some guys for the AHL I'm pretty sure I did sign. But yeah, we should be a pretty good team, and hopefully, yeah, we can make another run for another Stanley Cup in this and in the next episode, in like the finale. Now, if you guys are watching this on September 30th, I want to let you guys know that today actually marks the 5th year anniversary of me making YouTube content. So I just want to give a quick thanks to all you guys who have supported me throughout the years. This has been a really fun time making YouTube videos, and I'm going to continue to do YouTube videos for as long as I can, because I would really like to do this as like a hobby and stuff like that for a long time, because I'm not really making enough money to do this full time, but I do really like this, and it is a lot of fun, so I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can. And yeah, going into my 5th year, I'm excited for NHL 22 content and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, also, if you have not voted on the straw poll for the next franchise mode series for the first one in NHL 22, make sure you go do so. It will be on the community tab as the most recent post, or you guys can go into the description of this video and there should be a link to a straw poll. And yeah, basically right now San Jose or Phoenix or Arizona technically is leading. So one of those two teams are more than likely going to be the teams that we do for franchise mode. So go vote on that. And yeah, anyways, let's get started with the season simulation and see if we can get back to the playoffs with this Atlanta Thrashers team, which I will quickly run down. So as you can see, our top line has stayed the same for quite a long time. It's going to be still together. Merritt is back after we traded for him last year at the trade deadline. Hopefully he could have a big year with us. And then, yeah, our third line looks really good. Obviously, Howden and Bourque could put up points. Same with Camilleri still, even though Camilleri's production went down a lot last year. And then fourth line looks really good as well. Now, we could switch Ivanov and Camilleri around sometimes, probably throughout the season. Our defensive core still looks pretty strong as it has been for the last, like, long time. We drafted pretty much everybody on this defensive core except for, I think it was Kondratiev. So that's pretty nice. And in our goalie combination is still Carey Price and Jackson Robbins. In depth-wise, we do have some guys that we drafted as well. So I think this should be a pretty good season. Let's start simulating and see if we can make it back to the postseason. And hopefully next episode, which is the finale, we can go past the first round, because that would be a pretty bad way to end a series, losing in the first round. But it would have to happen because NHL 22 is only a week away at this point in time that you guys are seeing this video, which is pretty crazy, since there's the 7-day trial. What the heck am I saying? A 10-hour trial. So I'm very excited for that, obviously, because then I can start up our franchise mode series and get some roster building done, which should be pretty nice. Damn, this simulation is going to take a while, though, probably to sim through the seasons, because I'm still on my Xbox One waiting for my Series X, actually, which is supposed to be coming today. But I do want to record these last few NHL 21 episodes on my Xbox One, because that way I don't have to reinstall it on my Series X, because or else then I'm going to just use a lot of bandwidth to download games, and it's not going to be good, especially considering I have NHL 22 to install. So 6-0-1 in the preseason, that's pretty damn good, I would say. Hopefully the season simulation is a lot faster than that, which I don't think it is, because this console is way slower. Okay, it's not too bad. Feels a little bit okay for simulating speed. Okay, so if I was going to make my prediction on who's going to be a good team, I honestly have no idea. Yeah, I honestly have no idea. Who won the Stanley Cup last year was Pittsburgh. I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to be a good team again this year, though, because Pittsburgh did lose a couple of good players in the offseason. Like, they lost that guy that won the Conn Smythe for them. So I don't know if they're going to actually be able to win another championship like they did in real life, but we'll see what happens. Let's go through our first month. Yeah, this simulation is going to be probably a lot slower than it was on my Series X, so I apologize if this episode's like 30-something plus minutes. We do start off with 2 really good wins to start the season, good defensive games, but then we lose to Edmonton 5-4. Like, I could actually keep up to speed with each game when we win these games. Now on Series X, I wouldn't be able to keep up to date with how fast, or up to speed with how fast the simulation's going. Just like for a little comparison on how fast simulating is on Series X via this, because I could actually say each individual score line before it gets to the next game. Let's just go replace player in the AHL, because the AHL doesn't matter too much. I don't even think the AHL teams ever won a championship, have they? Don't think so. But we're off to a really good start so far, 5-2 in our first 7 games. Kondratyov now has been injured with a hip pointer, so he's out for a couple weeks, it looks like, so we'll replace player. But have a decent leg hit to our defensive core. We do win 8-0 over Boston, which is pretty crazy. Game against Detroit is a 4-0 loss. Detroit must be getting better. I'm surprised they haven't won as much cups as they did in real life. And Glenn is back for the AHL. I honestly don't remember where this guy was. But yeah, this simulation in this game is so slow by comparison on this console. Glenn was probably in over somebody that was older, which in that sense, I think... I don't even remember who it was. I'm going to take Aiden Cleary out. I don't even know who it was. But we're going to throw it back in Glenn. There you go. Game against the Calgary Flames. 3-1 win. Yeah, we're off to a really good start. But this simulation is way too slow. Like, if I make jump cuts in this video, it's because this game is way too slow on Xbox One era. Ed Roth is injured in the AHL. Replace player. And that's a 1-1 tie. Wow, the AHL is getting slammed with injuries in this episode for some reason. Don't know why. I might just go best lines down there at some point. But 7-4-1 in our first month, which is pretty good. Yeah, this simulation is way slower. Holy. 15 points in 12 games for us. 7-4-1. 13 points for Kemp in 12 games. So it seems like our offense isn't off to a fantastic start unless it's like depth scoring that we have. But it seems like right now not a lot of players over point per game. Let's continue to simulate because or else this episode is going to be pretty damn long. I'll probably just go to January the 1st already. Just because that way we could get it to simulate a decent chunk of the season and we could just talk through these games because or else this episode is going to be pretty damn long like I was saying. I don't think we're going to be probably making any trades in this season unless for some reason our team is not that great by the deadline. Let's go best lines down there in Manitoba because I honestly don't care. Because the AHL has been slammed with injuries pretty much. So we should be getting Kondratyov back soon, which might be the reason why we lost a couple games. Game against Pittsburgh's a 6-3 win. Our offense seems to be really good in the last few games because we have 6 goals, 9 goals, and 6 goals. So let's go back to defense. As Kondratyov is back. Gugnot got to play at least a decent amount of time this year. But yeah, it sucks that we never really got to utilize Gugnot. But our defensive core has just been really interchangeable for the last 5 seasons. I think I haven't changed it that much. We do suffer back-to-back losses, which is not good. Kind of a worse start than I thought. But I feel like if we actually have kind of a bad sim and we make the playoffs, that it might be a good thing. As weird as that sounds, because this team, last time we won the Stanley Cup, I believe we didn't have as good of a season. Like, we didn't have a dominant season, but we're off to a really rocky start. I don't really know why, because the team should be a lot better than they are. What the heck is all these losses in a row? 4 straight losses, or actually 5 straight losses. Damn, this team is not off to that good start. There's a win over New Jersey, though. There's a win over the Rangers. Yeah, we're going to bounce back with a 5-game winning streak, right? Because that happens a lot. It seems like where you lose a lot of games and then you all of a sudden go on a good winning streak. No, we're going to lose 5-0 in Europe. Damn, we're having a really rough month in November. And game against Europe again is another loss. Damn. Yeah, this team is not doing too good. There's a win over Buffalo, though. And game against St. Louis before we get to December is 5-1 win. 14-12-1 at the end of November. I don't really need to claim anything, I don't think, on waivers. Even though this guy is a 76, I'm not going to claim him. Let's just go best lines down there in the AHL again. But yeah, this is a really weird sim so far. I'm assuming we're going to have a dominant month out of nowhere, though, because our team should be winning games. But if we just barely make the playoffs, like I said, there's a good chance that we could end up winning a cup this year. Because a lot of the teams that just barely make it in that are way better than they should be. go on to win the Stanley Cup, but there's 4 straight wins now, so we are playing a little bit better, actually, and we've only allowed 1 goal in each of those 4 games, and we've scored a ton of goals, too, so our team is waking up. I think we're going to get back out of that slump that we were in, but we do lose to the Sharks 4-2, game against Arizona, who's off to a really good start this year. We do beat them 4-2, that's a good sign, beating one of the best teams in the league, probably. We beat LA in overtime 6-5. Yeah, I really like our offense so far, and Bergeron was never injured, right? Just got to make sure on that. I don't think he was, right? No. Get good. Because if he was, that would not have been good to have him scratched, you know? Game against Montreal. 9-4 loss. How did we let in 9 goals against Montreal? Montreal must be a good team to score 9 goals on us, unless Jackson Robbins was in for that game. Because I can't see Carey Price letting in 9 goals in a game. At least in this. Maybe in real life sometimes. You never know. But yeah, our team has definitely bounced back this month. Because last month we had a lot of losing streaks, but this month we've won pretty much every game except for a couple. We are 23-14-1 at January the 1st. That took a long time just to get to January the 1st. 42 points in 38 games for Kovalchuk. That's great to see. And we are top of our division by 3 points currently, but not top of the league. The best team in the league right now is the Coyotes and the Predators with 56 points. Blue Jackets up there with 54 as well. The United up there with 55, and the Lightning with 51. So our division looks like it's the weakest division at this point, which is kind of interesting. Let's continue to simulate since we're back to being a pretty good team, I'd say. Because, like I said, we should be a playoff team guaranteed. Let's go up to a day before the trade deadline, but I don't think we're going to make any trades unless this team falls apart in these next 2 months. But yeah, I think this team just needs to stick together pretty much going into the playoffs. Usually I like to try and make at least a small trade at the trade deadline for some of these teams, because I feel like if you don't make a trade, for some reason the game always makes you lose in the playoffs, but there's a couple losses in a row, so it looks like we're not off to the greatest start in January. Yeah, that's 3 straight losses now. A little bit inconsistent, but I feel like that's a good thing as well, like I said, going into the playoffs, being inconsistent right now, because then all of a sudden we might find our consistency to start the playoffs and be unstoppable at that point. There's 3 straight wins, so good bounce back from those 3 losses we had. Game against Detroit is another win, 4 straight wins. Game against Ottawa in Ottawa. Is it going to be another win? Yes, it is, 7-3. We do got 3 more games left in January. At the All-Star break, which has still no All-Star game, which is weird. Game against New Jersey, 6-1 win. Nice. OT loss against Washington, and game against Florida to end off January is going to be... Damn, this simulation is so slow. 3-2 OT loss. Okay, so 30-16, 1-3. Now we got only another 24 days till the trade deadline. We do lose there, so back-to-back losses, or 3 straight losses again. Yeah, this team is still really inconsistent. I don't know what it is, but I think that's a good thing, like I said, going into the playoffs. Game against the Flyers is 5-0 win. Looks like we're going to go back on a winning streak again, though. Nope, there's another loss. So we might not finish one of the top teams in the league, but that's still okay. So Kondrativ has been injured for the 2nd time this season with an injured groin out till February the 17th, so we'll go replace player. We do lose 6-1 to St. Louis, which is not good. But yeah, this team has not been, I wouldn't say terrible, but we're winning obviously a lot of games, but we're also just losing a lot of games, though, in a row at least. There's another 3-game losing streak, and we've lost most of our games in the last month or so. And Kondrativ is back after we win 7-5 over the Islanders. Let's go back to defense, take Gugnaut out, and throw back in Kondrativ. Game against Flyers, then we have Dallas, Washington, and the Rangers. Frolov was never injured. Game against the Flyers is another win. Okay, now we're going back on a winning streak, right? So it seems like, nope, we lose an OT to Dallas. Yeah, very inconsistent team, but at least we still have a good positive record at this point. Game against Washington is 6-4 win. Game against the Rangers, we lose 6-2. So at the trade deadline, we are 34, 21, 2-4, which is pretty good, but still very inconsistent in terms of winning and losing. We are leading our division still 74 points, but the top team in the league is currently the Nashville Predators at 82 points, who have Alex Ovechkin, which is pretty crazy. And Kovalchuk's way over point per game now at 69 points in 61 games, which is pretty nice. Let's continue to simulate, because like I said, I don't think we're making trades. I just don't think it's mandatory for this team to make trades, and I'm not going to look at player stats until we get to the end of the season. So, yeah, let's just continue to simulate. This team doesn't need to make any trades. I feel fine with the way they are right now, because we more than likely will be a playoff team, unless our division's just that tight. Let's just go in as a buyer. I don't know why it's automatically putting me in. Actually, let's continue to simulate. I'm not going to go right into the trade deadline game, if it's even considered a mini game. Game against Florida on the deadline. Jesus, game is so slow. Holy. Rafael Audi Marchessault, I don't know who that is. Let's just decline, because I'm not going to claim people on waivers. We do lose an OT to Florida. Let's decline that. Game against Buffalo, 4-0 win. Okay, nice. Now the simulation is going to get a bit faster since we got past the trade deadline, because I feel like that's what slows down a lot of the, at least the old gen version of NHL is the trade deadline game. There's back-to-back ties. A 7-6 OT win. Damn. Pispanen's been injured, but at least he will be back for the playoffs if we get there, which I think we're almost clinched there. So, game against Colorado. This is a tie. Damn, we've had a lot of ties recently. But yeah, we're probably going to end up finishing top in our division, because our division is pretty weak. Who was it that was injured? Pispanen. Oh, yeah. So we got to take out Wolski, I think it was, right? Wait. Yeah, it was Wolski. I couldn't remember who it was that I had scratched, but I'm pretty sure it was Wolski. So Pispanen back in. That is good. Yeah, that's good. Game against Dallas is a 5-4 loss. Let's go best lines in the AHL. And best lines again in the AHL. Damn, the AHL's had most of the injuries this season. Like, they've had like 6 or 7 injuries, and a couple of guys have been injured 2 times down there. There's 3 straight losses. Yeah, we're not out to a good start to the end of this month. That's not good. Yeah, this team is going to literally make the playoffs and then all of a sudden go on a tear and we're going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm telling you that right now. That's how I feel like with this team, considering the inconsistencies we've had this season and the record we have isn't as good as it should be. We're going to win the Stanley Cup this year, I feel. I feel like that's the case. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we could easily win the Stanley Cup this year. So Pisman is back, which is good. Let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, guys, I don't know where my video left off. I had to make a cut because apparently my mic stopped working mid-recording. So, anyways, we finished the season with a pretty good record. I'll show you guys. We finished 43, 27, 5, and 7. Pretty inconsistent last little bit of the season, but we did lead our division, which is always good to lead your division. But we were the worst division leader with 98 points, which is only 6 points more than the Hurricanes and the Islanders, who finished behind us. But as you can see, like the United, the Predators, and the Kings all had over 100 points, and they led their divisions. So we are the weakest of the division leaders. Let's take a look at team stats and player stats for the season, and then we'll take a look at who we're going up against in the first round. So, in terms of the entire NHL, we finished 8th best in the NHL, as you can see. So we finished behind a lot of teams that weren't even division leaders, which is pretty crazy. Europe ends up winning the President's Trophy by 5 points. In terms of goals for per game, we were one of the best teams in the NHL behind the Tampa Bay Lightning, Minnesota Wild, LA Kings, Europe United, and Nashville Predators. Nashville was really good offensively this year, probably because of Ovechkin, because they have Ovi. And in goals against per game wise, we were one of the best in the NHL as well. As you can see, only behind Detroit and the Islanders, Minnesota, LA, and Europe. It's kind of weird to see Detroit up there as a goals against per game team because they finished 18th in the NHL. You think they would be a bit better than that in terms of the simulation, but I guess not. Then in terms of power play percentage, we were not very good in our power play area. It seems like that's something we need to address going into the playoffs, or maybe it will get better in the playoffs. It only clicked at 18.9%, which is like mid-table or a little bit below mid-table. And then our penalty kill is actually pretty good though this season, 82.7%, which was tied with the Flyers for the 5th best in the league. It's kind of weird that the Flyers had the penalty kill percentage that good though, because they were one of the worst teams in the NHL. A lot of these teams actually that are up there in penalty kill percentage were one of the worst teams. So I feel like we have a good chance to win some games in this postseason. And as you can see, we also scored 4 shorthanded goals. We had a 2016 1-4 record on home ice. And in terms of the row, we finished 23, 11, 4, and 3. And we're 5, 4, 0, and 1 in our last 10 games. Let's take a look at our player stats for the season. I haven't actually checked this part yet. I did check the team stats ahead of time, but that was because I didn't realize my mic wasn't recording at that point. But good, I recognized that it did. So, center-wise, Patrice Bergeron, 86 points in 82 games. I believe it's a bit down from last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, his production went down, but he's still over point per game. One of the best players in this franchise mode series for sure. Then Evgeny Malkin, 77 points in 82 games. Also a pretty good season from him, but below what last season was. Plus 30 though this year. Frolov, 65 points. I really like Frolov. Seems like all of a sudden he's becoming a really good player. Because, yeah, the last 2 years he's put up some really good numbers. Like, I gave him a chance, and with more ice time and power play chances, he's also a pretty good player. So, who else we got here? Houghton, 55 points and a plus 15. So, very good stuff from our centerman. Left wing wise, Kovalchuk, 95 points, 42 goals this year. Really good season from Ilya Kovalchuk. Then Jalen Kemp had 70 points this year. That might be a career high for Jalen Kemp. Yep, it is. Really like Jalen Kemp, definitely a pure passer. Hopefully he keeps that up in the playoffs. Don Merritt had 66 points, 32 goals, 34 assists, and a plus 31. Camilleri, 52 points. He had 30 goals this year, so a lot of 30-goal scorers on his team. And then Ivanov, 28 points. But Pispinen played 76 games. He had 19 points only, which is not really a whole lot. And he was a minus 10 somehow on this team, and Ivanov was a minus 8. So it seems like our fourth line is out there for all our goals against. But the rest of the lines seem to be similarly pretty good offensively, so they don't get negatives really that much. Then in terms of right wing wise, Brock Bork had 55 points, 23 goals, 32 assists. Wolski, 21 points and a minus 16. I didn't realize Wolski actually played this much during the season. Oh, it was Soderstrom I scratched normally. So yeah, we might need to change around our fourth line a little bit going into the playoffs. I don't know for sure. We'll see if it assimilates better in the playoffs or not. Defensively, Gordon Frigginson, 28 points and a plus 8. This guy's only 24 years of age, but he's played quite a long time in the NHL, and he's been pretty good defensively throughout his career, which I really like. Andre Brody, 27 points and a plus 15. Kandratyev played only 72 games this year because of injury problems, but still put up 26 points and was a plus 30. And Jalen Wall also on the top pairing, 19 points this year, 11 goals, which is really good. And then 45 or plus 45 this year, which is also really good for Jalen Wall. Obviously, he was one of the OG players that we brought in this franchise mode in the third round of 2021. Martinez, 18 points and a plus 12. Conley, 6 points and a plus 24. And Gugnot was a plus 8 and had 4 points in 10 games, which is pretty good for a depth defenseman. So pretty good in terms of our defensive core. And in goalie-wise, Carey Price was interesting this year. 38, 25, and 7. 5 shutouts, which is pretty good. But that 897 save percentage, I don't know if it's that good. I could check the rest of the league and see, but it's not looking that good. The goals against per game is pretty good, though. And then Jackson Robbins went 7-3 as our backup this year with a 907 and a 2.64. So pretty good effort from Jackson Robbins as our backup. And then Carey Price had 2 assists, so pretty good. Let's take a look at the entire league for player stats. And then we'll take a look at who we're going up against in the first round. So in terms of forwards, the best forward for points this year was Trevor Wong with 112. Anze Kopitar up there with 110. Ribeiro, Crosby up there also. Patrick Marleau, Steen. Interesting. Most goals this year, Alex Ovechkin, which I figured considering Nashville was the best offensive team with 57 goals. Lots up there as well. And Mike Ribeiro up there in Nashville with 51 goals. So Ribeiro and Ovechkin, both 50 goal scorers in Nashville, which is pretty crazy. Scott Hartnell also 50 goal scorer. Interesting. So I guess we weren't as good of an offensive team as we thought. Well, we were good depth-wise maybe, but we just didn't get one super offensive stud this year. In terms of plus minus, the best plus minus player was Danny Heatley in Europe, who was a plus 44. Damn. Europe is a really good team. And then let's go to best defenseman for points. It was Jay Bouwmeester in Europe with 71 points, followed by Cameron Morrison in LA with 59, who's only 22. So there's the defensive points. Best goalie this year for wins is going to be Henrik Lundqvist, who apparently got injured, which is a big blow to Europe's team going into the playoffs. He had 43 wins this year and 18 losses. No OT losses, apparently 7 shutouts, and a really good goals against save percentage. Like, he might win the Vezina, but he got injured in like one of the last games of the year, which is pretty crazy. And then behind him, Ernesto Keatley of the Phoenix Coyotes. Most shutouts this year is also Ernesto Keatley. Ray Emery also up there, which is interesting. Best in save percentage was Ray Emery. So, no, Ray Emery's record's not good enough. He's not going to win the Vezina, I don't think. If I was going to guess, it would probably be Henrik Lundqvist, right? Yeah, it's more than likely going to be Henrik Lundqvist, who got injured right at the end of the season. Hopefully he's not out too long for Europe, even though I do want to win a Stanley Cup against any team right now. I don't want to face Europe, though, if we do get to the finals. Actually, no, we wouldn't even play them in the finals. It would be like in the conference finals, or even in the next round, who knows, if we get there. So that's that. Rookie skater-wise, I didn't check yet. So Cowan led in points, 66 points in 78 games for the youngster in Tampa Bay. Motzko up there, and Tangrady. Interesting. Now the question is, who are we going to be playing in the first round of the playoffs in the final episode? And hopefully we could get past them as well, whoever we're facing. It's going to be the Boston Bruins, who finished 38, 33, 7-4. So they kind of had a cheese record going into the playoffs, which kind of scares me because they could end up being like the Pittsburgh Penguins and knocking us out. But we didn't have a great simulation either, so I'm hoping that we could come back and win this, or we could win this series. Let's take a look at how they did during the regular season as composed to us, and then we'll take a look at their roster, and we'll take a look at the playoff tree, and then that'll be it for this episode. So Eastern Conference-wise, we finished 3rd best, they finished 7th best. So they had 11 points less than us. They scored 3 goals per game. We scored 3.63, so we were way better offensively. They allowed 3.24. We allowed 2.91, so a little bit better defensively. They had a worse power play percentage than us, which is kind of surprising. 0.7% worse. And then in terms of penalty kill percentage, they were way better than us on the penalty kill, 84.8%. They actually had the best penalty kill almost in the entire NHL, I think, during the season. Let's see. I believe, yeah, they were the 2nd best penalty killing team in the entire NHL, only behind the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's what we got to watch out for, them playing good defensively on the penalty kill. Hopefully our power play can get going, because if it doesn't, we might end up losing because of that. Let's take a look at what their lines up looks like. Obviously, we did trade for Don Merritt last trade deadline, and he used to be a Boston Bruin player. So I don't know. I don't think the players we traded to Boston are going to be in the lineup, because I think we traded prospects, but you never know. So here is the Boston Bruins. They have Ruslan Bobkov, Thomas Franzen, and Jack McCarron. So kind of like a veteran top line with the young guy that must have been, a decently high up pick. Second line wise, they have UC Jokinen, Mark Bell, and Timofey Punov, so a veteran second line. And in the third line, Alexander Alexandrov, what a name. 26-year-old, interesting. Austin Wengrowski and Gaspard Lancelette, so a little bit of a younger third line. And in fourth line wise, they have Jaro Sauer, Vitaly Kondratyev, so we could say the brother of Mark Kondratyev. This guy is another high up pick, and Jermaine Ferrario, Ferrario. So offensively wise, I don't see how this team made the playoffs, but okay. yeah, definitely we should be able to beat them in terms of how their offense is structured, but they're a good defensive team probably in terms of at least penalty kill wise. Then defensively, they're also pretty weak. They have Zach Acker, they have Caden Versey, Manny Simmons, Brandon Johnson, Tiny Vernarski, and Steven Endress. Yeah, I don't know how this team made the playoffs, and I'm kind of scared that they're going to be a cheese team and knock us out, which would be the ultimate way to end NHL 21. Goalie-wise, they have Kari Lettinen, so not a bad goalie, and Alvin Brathwaite as their backup. So goaltending-wise, they're not too bad, I'd say. And then offensively, they're better than they are defensively. Like, this is structured kind of where they have, like, guys that should be a fourth-liners or something on their third line. So, And then depth-wise, let's see what they have. Zachary Almond, Ivan Voloshenko, and Lucas Cochrane. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of what their team is looking like. But who knows? Maybe that top line will take over for them. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of the playoffs and the entire playoff simulation, as we have our finale in our Atlanta series, and hopefully we can go on and win another Stanley Cup in next episode, because we're just going to play pretty much until we get knocked out. So hopefully we can win a Stanley Cup to end off our series. That would be a great way to end off NHL 21. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.